What's going on, everybody? I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller. Welcome to another installment of Micro Brand Monday. Now guys, speaking of micro brands, you know I love my Boldr field watches. You know I'm going through like this whole field watch phase. Well, someone that used to be over at Boldr broke off and started their own field watch company, and that's what we have right here. They told me, if you love Boldr, you're gonna love our new Reese Resolute. You gotta take a look. So guys, they sent me this watch. They sponsored this episode to help me make another piece of content for Micro Brand Monday. Let's take a look. It is 1:53 p.m. Let's get down to business. Alright guys, here for the first time ever in the flesh, a Reese Resolute field watch. Guys, first impressions, I definitely see the Boldr lineage, and that's not a bad thing, but come on, we're looking at a very angular, futuristic case, a very interesting dial, and some really good functionality, and I'm confident in saying that because of the spec sheet. Now, looking at that very interesting case, it's solid titanium, but they didn't stop there, okay? You already know I like titanium. It's lightweight, it's very strong. I actually went over the properties of titanium in another episode, actually the Boldr Venture episode, if you wanna click the top right corner and check that out. But okay, titanium, very light, very strong. However, they added an ultra hex coating to this titanium. So it's gonna help it kind of mitigate scratches and oxidation. At least that's what the internet has told me. So that's a nice kind of added bit of pizzazz there. You can see the second hand sweeping across the dial. Not high beat, but still a very good workhorse movement. This is using the very prolific Seiko Instruments NH35 automatic, so you are getting hacking, hand wind, and a date complication. One thing I'm very excited about is that this watch does have a threaded crown and a 100 meter water resistance rating, so this is gonna be a watch that I'm not worried about getting wet, you know, while I'm camping or doing whatever, swimming. You get the deal. And it has super luminova lume that, of course, that's gonna be my favorite thing to test out. Let's go ahead and start by kind of feeling the crown setting and function, because again, the spec sheet says it's got a threaded crown. Well, how does this baby feel? Let's check it out. Okay, moment of truth, guys. Let's see. All right, it is unthreading. 1, 2. You know, we're all very familiar with the NH35 at this point. Yeah, 2 very tangible tactile clicks when we're looking at the crown setting. Let's go ahead and just kind of move the time around. Let's say that it is 6 o'clock on the button, and then let's go ahead and change the date. See if we can switch it around. Oh, looks good to me, feels good. Let's see how it threads up. Ooh, very smooth. Happy to see that. Almost feels like there is a gasket in there. We're gonna get a close-up shot and look. Yeah, feels very smooth, and I can almost feel some rubber resistance, which is a good thing because that means they have some really heavy-duty gaskets inside the crown. We're gonna get a close-up, see if we can actually visibly see those with the macro lens. Of course, the crown is signed with that Reese R. This is the first watch that I'm like this is my introduction to this company. So I've never really held anything or heard of them before. Again, when the creator, Travis, came up to me, he's like, hey, I used to be at Boldr. I know you love Boldr, and I think I have something else you'd really be interested in. I jumped at it because, again, I am a big fan of what Boldr has been putting out. So if this guy had a part in it, of course, I'd love to take a look. And so far, this seems similar caliber, I'll say. You know, we're getting some definite functionality. I really like that he's retained the threaded crown. All the Boldrs have threaded crowns. I like that he's adding some kind of modern elements here, again, with these angular shapes and titanium with an extra coating. Speaking of coating, this is a sapphire crystal with AR coating. So although I really, come on, who doesn't love taking a nice watch photo with some extra flecto there on the crystal? All in all, I'm digging this watch so far, but there's still some more tests we need to put it through. Let's measure this one. That's right, it would not be a Time Teller episode without my digital calipers. Let's go ahead and get the measurements of the case, excluding the crown guards. Again, this has a very interesting case design, so we're going to kind of put one of the prongs right here. Let's see, at the widest point, excluding those crown guards, 39.7 millimeters across, and then lug to lug. We're going to talk about these lugs in a moment. 45.5 millimeter lug to lug. Now let's see the case thickness. 12.1 millimeters thick. Honestly, very reasonable, very usable for a field watch. Not too big. It's not going to get hung up on anything. I like that it's a pretty flat watch. Of course, we do need to put it on the wrist to test that. And that's what we're going to do right now. Let's take a look. All right, here it is, the Reese Resolute titanium hexad coated field watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. You can see the strap is like hanging off my wrist because this is such a freaking stiff, thick textile strap. It almost feels exactly like the factory band that came on the Boldr Expedition. I would probably immediately change this out for something softer, maybe even a NATO strap. One thing I really do like is that this has drilled lugs. Okay, any functional tool watch should have drilled lugs. Love it. That's, I just, big points for Reese there. One thing I also like about this is that the buckle has the same coating as the case, and then they took the time to put that Reese R logo there. Really, really cool. You know, titanium always kind of messes with my head, okay, because the watches, titanium watches feel lighter than they should, but yet if they're done well, like this watch and like the Boldr Venture, they feel robust. They're robust enough to actually wear and use daily. So yeah, titanium, if you're not used to it, it's going to kind of mess with you a little bit because yeah, I don't want to say this watch feels like a toy, but titanium is just crazy light. Okay, and we're actually going to go ahead and put this on a scale to really see just how light it is. All right, and here we go, putting this titanium field watch on the scale. 58 grams. That's a pretty dang light watch. Nice job. And as we focus in here on that dial, it has a very interesting kind of gradient finish, some definite texturing there. I love that detailing. One thing I really like is that they're playing with those gray tones all throughout the watch. Okay, so first off, when we're looking at the case coating, it has that kind of muted tone to it. And then as we look at that gradient on the dial texture, we look at the indexes and the borders of those indexes, the handset. Nothing is too flashy. It's all kind of a different gradient of that gray tone. We look at the border of the date window and the gray date wheel. Guys, I love it. They took the time to get a gray date wheel. They're not using white. It's not an eyesore. It's nice, prim and proper, neat and tidy. This is a definite attention to detail that some watches just don't have. I hate looking at a micro brand watch and seeing that the date window is just kind of cattywampus, or you know, it's like a dark dial, but then they chose a white date wheel, so it kind of just sticks out like a sore thumb. This is just very nicely done, and again, they're choosing some deliberate gray tones all throughout the watch. Very nicely done. And speaking of that dial and the indexes, you can see depending on the light, those applied indexes, they kind of just pop off the dial, casting a shadow around them. So it kind of looks like a dark border in some lights. Very cool. Speaking of this part of the dial, you can see some minute font hiding behind that minute hand, 100 meters, 330 feet, automatic. I'll move those hands around so you can get a better view of that. But yeah, everything seems to be very tidy, and there's not too much text on the dial. There's not a whole bunch going on. It's kind of a simple field watch, and in my opinion, that's what a field watch should be. Moving up to that Reese font, I actually really like that they chose to spell out the word and not use that R. Not that I don't like the R logo, I just think that it's very nice to see it written out tastefully in block print. I don't like things too stylized. If it's hyper stylized, I think it can kind of look cheap, like a toy. This is just very well done. And again, that 12 o'clock index with the 2 bars there, very, very cool. But there's one thing that I just have to do. We gotta test that Lume. Again, all these nice indexes placed on the dial, the nice handset going across that dial. I need to see if it's actually gonna do something for us in low light situations. Let's take a look. Holy cow, look at that. They did not skimp on that Super Luminova Lume. Check that out. Very nicely done. It's always a bummer to see watches with really nice indexes, really nice applied indexes, and then the Lume just doesn't cut the mustard. This is great. Wow. Great job, Reese. I'm a big fan of this. All right, and looking at this screw down case back, we can see not a whole lot going on here. No display case back, no real engraving. It just says Reese with the R and a few of the specs here. Sapphire crystal, the water resistance rating, the Seiko movement, and let's see, Ultra Hex titanium, and then the reference number. Now, I should mention, this is a prototype, so I actually don't know if the production models will have a different case back for you, but as of what I see right here in my hands, this is what we're working with. Kind of simple, whatever. So there you have it, guys, the Reese Resolute Ultra Hex coated titanium field watch. All in all, some really good specs. Again, I love that it has the threaded crown. You don't have to worry about getting it wet. I like that it has a sapphire crystal. Very nice attention to detail when we're looking at the dial texture and the date wheel and the date window, how it's nice and aligned. I love that it has drilled lugs. Very interesting case. Now I will say, out of the variants available at the time of filming, I think they have a blue dial and an olive drab dial. My favorite would be the olive drab. Now again, this is the prototype they sent to me. This is going right back to Reese. I'm not keeping this watch, but I think I would really love to take a look at that olive drab one. But again, they sent me the gray dial. I think this is very nice looking. The dial texture almost reminds me of like my Orient Defender, although this has that kind of gradient look. Very, very interesting. And again, I really do appreciate their lineage, not to keep bringing up Boldr, but this does definitely remind me of a Boldr field watch, so I can kind of make that connection there. But yeah, I'd love to hear what you think. Again, what do you think about the specs? What do you think about it having that extra futuristic coated titanium? Are you even into titanium watches? Leave me that comment and I'd love to see what you think in the comment section. And guys, special thanks to Reese again for making this installment of Micro Brand Monday possible. We really do appreciate their support. Thank you for sponsoring this episode and sending us this watch to review. Guys, full disclosure, we are sending this watch back to Reese. So again, I'm not keeping this watch, but yeah, we really do appreciate when companies want to send us watches and be a part of Micro Brand Monday. So guys, if you want to support the channel, then please consider clicking the links in the description below. That will take you to my Amazon affiliate store. Check out www.thetimetellershop.com. That is the #1 place to find affordable vintage luxury watches serviced with a 1-year warranty. Check out, that join button. What is that join button? Well, it'll take you to the channel memberships where you can become a certified T3 bot. And of course, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon if you haven't already. All right, guys, I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller. Always remember, I didn't invent time, I just tell it. Thanks for checking out another episode of Micro Brand Monday. Love you guys.